Hello,
Hello,
Kevin.
hello.
We are live.
Can you hear me though?
I can, yes.
Nice. Last minute fixes and improvements for the mic and for the setup, overall setup.
Explain it. Let's use the first minute to explain your setup.
Yeah. So, if anyone listening would like to, wait, am I inverted? Oh my God, I'm inverted. That's so annoying. No, sorry. This will just break my head continuously.
Okay, so if you want to
So
fix it, go to the settings, go to camera, and
no. I just fixed it.
yeah, do that.
So yeah, I do recommend OBS. It's free. It's open source. Is it open source? It's
Yeah,
free.
it's
And
called Open Broadcast Service.
software.
OBS
Software. Something.
OBS.
Open broadcast
Open
something.
broadcaster software. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's super nice. It allows you to set up a lot of like nice stuff and nice improvements. Like for instance, let's say I don't want to add any like color balance, etc., to my camera, and I would look like this. That's much worse, and I shine for some reason. So yeah, small touches like that, and then I had to improve the mic to add some noise gates, etc. But I didn't manage to do that because for some reason the stuff required me to like restart my Mac and exit and enter the room again, and a lot of weird stuff in order to prepare that. So unfortunately I didn't do it.
Well, I don't use OBS. I used to, but like my setup is like fine as is. What I did from the last stream, one of my upgrades from the last stream was downgrading my video capture card, like my camera, to output full HD instead of 4K, because last week I watched the beginning of our stream and it was choppy on my end. So I guess that's because I'm looking at our stream right now, and is it choppy? Can someone tell me if I'm
choppy?
Picture,
Do you think I'm
choppy or not?
choppy? Am I chopping? But for some reason I see that I am flickering. These are dope nicknames, Choppy and Flicker.
Howdy, guys.
Oh my God, I think I know why I'm flickering, and I hate the reason. Hello, good seeing you here.
Good seeing you.
So on Mac, yeah.
This is just like the light balance.
Yeah, but on Mac, there's this annoying one thing that I really hate. So when I was doing some more complex setup with OBS one day, I noticed that when you put stuff in the background on Mac, it automatically lowers the amount of resources it gives to that thing. So if you would like to have a server running in the background, I mean, maybe it's not, maybe not with the servers, but with apps, I know it works like that. If you put it, like hide it, put it in the background, the resources are going to get cut, and you will get only half of the performance you wanted to get. So possibly,
what you need to do is put an animated spinner in the background so that macOS knows that something is moving in the background, right? And it will allocate more resources for you.
I don't know. I never had this issue with something I created because I never created something that just runs in the background, I guess. But I did have plenty of those issues with apps that I'm running on my Mac. And one last minute improvement I did, maybe this is breaking the light balance, because I added a small hat for my camera. So it's reflecting the yeah, I know. Sorry,
look. We got like 3 different responses that everything looks fine. So thanks everyone for chiming in. I hope we can get this kind of interaction throughout this live stream. Let's see. So this is a live stream. Me, Kevin, we talk about news from open source, news from React Native. We don't have a script for this. We have some newsletters that we want to go through and maybe read up and maybe test some tools and maybe let's just discuss it. Mike is going to join us soon as well. That's great because the React Native OTA just came out a few days ago, and Mike used to be on the release team on React Native. So I want to ask him a few questions how that works, how releasing React Native actually works. So let's leave that as the topic for Mike. And then, yeah, we have a bunch of different... Is there anything, Kevin, you want to talk about today?
I have a couple of topics that would be quite interesting, I hope, for listeners. But so one of those topics is, of course, MCP, and not because it's like super popular topic right now. Just some time ago, I created an article about that, so I had an opportunity to learn quite a bit about it. And like the topic itself, maybe it's not so insightful, new and fresh, but the possibilities you can, like things you can do with MCP, it's mind blowing once I started realizing it.
Hell, like when you say that topic of MCP is not new or fresh, and
it's not new.
Well, it's a topic that has been around for like at most 4 months.
No. That's not what I mean. It's like if you would get excited about OnlyFans, would you be excited about, the technological advancements and, they figured out streaming? Wow.
Well, actually, from what I read somewhere in the open space, let's say, porn industry actually was on the forefront of many internet technologies.
Oh, of course.
So like payments, right? Like payments were maybe partially invented or upgraded with porn industry. And also like streaming, right? Like
not to mention things like most replayed markers and peeking throughout the video on hover. At least that's what I read. That's what I heard.
Let's start with this. Let's start. That's a great topic. Everyone that is watching, this is not a porn live stream, but we will talk about web technology, so that it just makes sense that
we are not streaming on OnlyFans?
Sorry?
We are not streaming on OnlyFans?
I don't think we can stream only. I don't have an account, honestly. I don't have an account on this.
But
so
they just about that, they basically merged the idea of what's the word? Of Patreon and streams. Okay, I'm getting really annoyed with my camera. Can you somehow, if I'm using my camera from my phone, can I somehow lock in the autocorrection, the brightness levels?
Let's do this. Let's fix that tomorrow. And today, let's just go on with talking about the porn industry, okay? What are the contributions to web technologies that porn industry did/developed? Let's see. I think it's gonna be quite a bit, right? Like you said, like the most replayed, blah blah blah. Definitely some streaming standards or whatever.
I've even heard at some point that they were pushing quite a bit of updates and improvements in like visual recognition technology, because they were basically deploying their like web crawlers, let's call it, that were skimming through the video and marking the scenes.
Okay. That's actually brilliant, right? Because like
on one hand,
so when you upload like your own movie to YouTube, right? Like let's say you upload 3 of those every day. That's still something that you can chop up and like mark the chapters, right?
Yeah.
But then if
But
you just, I don't know, rip DVDs and then like upload 50, 100 of them each day, it makes sense that you need like some assistive technology to help you out with this.
But on YouTube, they are actually right now doing that with like processing the videos, because one of the things that that YouTube is now doing, if you say subscribe, the subscribe button lightens up, and if you say
For
like,
real?
yeah,
Okay.
like it's finds the audio throughout the video and matches the timestamps with like there. I think there hit the like button, subscribe, and the notification bell maybe.
Well,
and on
so listen, it makes sense now, right? With like all the amazing, expensive AI that we have and Google has. It wasn't probably possible like 15 years ago. And then like, yeah. Okay,
wasn't it?
I have it. I have the porn industry's contributions to web technologies. So, video format, blah blah blah.
That's old contributions.
Okay, I'm not clicking any links. I'm not clicking any links in this.
I think that's a good choice. Yeah.
Yeah. So e-commerce and online system, like I've heard about that. Pioneered several e-commerce innovations, online payment processing, credit card processing, subscription models.
Subscription-based models. Wow.
Well, it says was among the first to implement recurring subscription model for online content.
Wow.
Then streaming technology. So video streaming, among the first. Bandwidth.
Wait,
definitely. So it says that they developed advanced bandwidth.
They did that before YouTube?
Well,
it says that
YouTube is like 2004, right?
Listen, I know that you are not that older than me, but still
2005, almost 2006. So like 2005, 2006, YouTube, like probably there were porn sites way before that.
I guess.
Okay. So then CDN, early adopter of CDN, web privacy.
What?
So what it gave me is.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry about age verification systems. Yeah, like those, like it's a system. Come on.
Sophisticated age
Yeah,
like I wouldn't
sophisticated.
know. I don't know how it works.
I mean, apparently there are some like issues with that in some countries, like they require you to actually verify your age with an ID. Of course, the pop-up advertising, the affiliate marketing. Oh yeah, the video thumbnails and previews.
Yeah. So it originated largely from adult websites.
Damn.
Real-time communication.
Oh, you hovered over, and that's shouldn't even.
Well,
hover
that's
over.
the DevTO, right? Dev
okay,
community.
sorry.
And
the
then
next thing,
Fuzzy Mag.
Okay.
Then the adult early adopter. So a bunch of those is like the adult industry was early adopter. What did you read? What did you read? Which one? Is this one?
The third one. The third one.
That made you laugh? The industry has pioneered remote controlled devices that respond to internet signals, advancing haptic technology and the Internet of Things.
Read the third one.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I know what you're laughing at.
Oh my
Teledildonics.
Teledildonics. Wow, that's the first time
today I learned.
Teledildonics. It's a part of Internet of Things. Oh my! My day is complete today. I'm happy with what I learned.
We can end now, and everyone learned something. Yeah. Teledildonics.
If anyone listening now, like, we can finish the stream like we achieved everything.
Okay,
We
let's
learned a
go.
lot.
Let's go on with this. Mike is still not here, so let's use this time to talk about port industry. Advanced media technologies. So Adobe continues to drive innovation, virtual reality, AI and deep learning, and advanced image and video compression. Yeah, I would guess that one as well. And then conclusion. Yeah, like I knew some of that. Like it's not a niche
But it's
subject.
a lot. I'm surprised. It's a lot.
Well, the technology comes from where the money is, right? So like if you look at history, if you look at Renaissance, let's say, like all of those like nice paintings and music and etc., it came from the Netherlands when they were in their golden age, right? So they had money to pay painters to paint things. That's how like people watching porn are paying porn sites to develop nice things so that you can watch better porn, I guess.
Did you just
But like
compare
the advancements are
Renaissance
coming
painters
from
to
money.
porn? Did you just compare Renaissance painters to porn actors?
Not actors, but
The whole
like
industry.
the industry in general, right? So like if you have money flowing to some industry, that industry will create better things usually.
I mean, yeah, that's fair. I mean, if there is the need for something, like there is this nice saying that the chairs were invented because people wanted to sit. So first there is a need, and the need pushes the money and everything. Like kind of looping around the topic, but that's why I really think that LLMs is like the lowest hanging fruit. LLMs is basically a porn industry of AI. This is what takes in the money. This is what creates the interest, and this is what people are excited about. But LLMs themselves, well, I'm not. It's a tool, as always, but I don't like how many people use that tool. I don't like how much of automation and AI slop, as they call it, hit the market and hit the different platforms, etc. So in my eyes, LLMs are it's the lowest hanging fruit and the worst type of AI. Like the place where AI is magical, amazing, and I wish it will continue to thrive. It's medicine and ecology and those topics, those like bigger impact related things, because this is where the money is not so prevalent.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the
well that ties into this, right? So like teledildonics may be a precursor to some kind of like telemedicine, right?
I
bet. First you need to learn how to vibrate like a device, and then you can learn how to precisely cut human body with like surgical knife.
My prediction for this or next year, I will give my prediction for this and next year. There will be an MCP server for teledildonics where you could basically do a sexy chat with LLM, and it will use MCP server to connect with the teledildonics and haptic feedback. Haptic feedback.
Look how I wrote teledildonics, and it doesn't recognize the word. But this is such a nice word. We just learned that word exists.
Oh my!
We need to move on. We need to move on from this topic.
Yes.
I'm gonna
save the tab and go and move on.
No. I'm gonna burn this. How do I? Can I delete Never come back. Okay.
Oh my god.
How do we go back in time and restart the stream?
I don't know. I'm the happiest I've been today, really, with the things I learned. And
Well, the
well,
code
thankfully nothing.
critical.
Hopefully you didn't see nothing.
I think
But
we
you
just
heard a
learned
lot.
something today. We learned the
Yes.
connection between teledildonics and AI medicine.
Dude, not
Okay.
even I'm drinking.
Yeah. So
Okay,
like,
I guess we can restart like, hi, I'm Kevin. This is Łukasz. And welcome to React Universe News, Tools, and Code. A show that's not just a show, it's also a conversation. So if you have any topics you would like to suggest, we'll be happy to talk about them with you. Like, you are not on, hopefully you won't be only listening. Feel free to participate, to comment. It's it's all fun, and there is no really any script. So
there is,
yeah.
as you just saw, there is no script to this. We are
Oh,
just.
actually, sorry. There are actually comments. And I didn't see them, but you mentioned. So there is a question. There is a question from Hupernikites or Hupernikites. Any if you could like drop it on
Yeah, I
the
can.
stream. Any recommendations for UI libraries? My app looks terrible. So first of all, I would like you to be more precise. What app? Like, I mean, iOS, Android, web app, desktop app. I'm assuming
I think it
if that's
doesn't
React
matter.
Native.
Honestly.
Oh, you think?
Yeah, look at this. So I will go to state.
If this would be a web app,
React
this
Native.
would be a web.
And then we go to state of React Native 2024, and then we go to styling, and then you see I can post this.
Oh wow, that's
So
a dope.
that's the answer
a
for
dope resource.
the UI libraries, but also okay, so that's styling. Where are the UI libraries? Patterns. Oh, sorry, maybe components libraries. Maybe this one. Okay, so let's say this one as well.
I didn't know there is a. That's so cool.
What's cool?
The site.
You didn't know about the state of React Native?
Listen,
they have like 3 different editions. They've been doing this for a while now.
I have too much work to do. I don't have time to learn, like, follow the new things. That's so, basically on these streams, I'm like a plugin that is basically like an audience. I come here to learn as well. So no, I never heard about this page, and it looks so dope.
So here, on the state of React Native component libraries, there is a quote from Mike Pierzchała. And I knew that this quote exists because I was talking with Michał before he wrote this. And if you look at this section, this could signal or shift how developers approach UI development in React Native apps, moving away from pre-built UI kits in favor of more flexible web-inspired styling solutions. Meaning, UI libraries are dropping in popularity because people are starting to use, all of them are dropping in popularity because people start using like things like Cursor, and Cursor is not giving you the like UI components from React Native paper, for example. It gives you your own style written in like NativeWind or what's the wind for web? Tailwind, yes, thank you. Tailwind and all of that, and interacting directly with styles and with CSS instead of interacting with like component libraries API. So if you want to make your app beautiful, just put it in Cursor and write a prompt, make it look better. and that's all. Like
This will not work. I think
does.
this won't work. I think that no UI library will just fix your app. That's my take on that. So I really think that if you want to make your app beautiful, give it to people to test out, figure out stuff like color schemes, figure out a color scheme, observe other apps, because, and trust me when I say I when I created my own app, I think every one of them, I usually use React Native Paper, not only because I know the maintainer, sorry, and I can just ask him to like for fixes, etc. But I used React Native Paper, and even with that library, even with all of those nicely styled components and everything, my app still looked bad, because it's not only
Yeah.
about how the components are styled, it's also about their placement, the feel of the app. Like, there is a lot that goes into the app. So I don't know, like, UI libraries will help you have a faster start, but I'm not sure how well they, for instance, integrate with things like animations, or with how customizable they will be. At some point, you will hit a wall with UI libraries, and you might want to, either deviate or.
Let's do this. If you want to do some live coding, maybe soon. Michał Pierzchała is joining, so I'm gonna let him in. Hello, Michał.
Oh, hello.
If we want to do maybe some live coding later, I can show you that AI will make my app beautiful with few single prompts, and like maybe I can even like find some examples in the web and say, make it look like that, make it look like LinkedIn, make it look like Facebook or whatever, and it will just apply the scheme, apply the fonts, apply the colors and whatever.
I'm taking you on your words here.
Let's do that. I know that we have Michał only for a few minutes, so let him introduce himself.
Hey, I'm Michał. Just a guest to these two folks talking about teledildonics, I guess. So something that that I noticed when analyzing this topic on the styling libraries, which we were asked by the software mention team that is building this library and or like this whole
survey
resource, analyzing the survey. That's a lot of work. And I was kindly asked about styling, because at Callstack we're developing a component library called React Native Paper, and it's one of the most popular component libraries out there. It implements the material design from Google. So if you want, so answering the question from
Jonathan,
I guess.
Sorry.
Or
it Jonathan. It was Kupernikites.
Yeah. So from you, Kupernikites. I don't know what a good design means to you, for example, but if you're like a lot of Android users and you are fine, or you like the material design that you can find in many Android phones, the React Native Paper may be a library for you. And yeah, looking at the trends from last 2 years, it seems like the respondents of the survey, it doesn't mean like it's the whole industry, etc. This is like 2,000 or 3,000 developers, where we have hundreds of thousands of React Native developers. So just take this into account, that that's like a small representative of all the developers out there, and these developers, likely a lot of them are the same across 2022, 2023. They're using less and less component libraries, and this is something that I'm observing as well. At Callstack, we're specifically working with enterprise clients, so it's like almost never a case where we can use some ready-to-use component libraries. We can start with one. So we had this situation where we basically forked React Native paper and created a custom-made library for that client, so they can work on their components that are compatible with web and mobile, and are not Google specific design but their own. And for that they will use internal. They will use some styling solutions such as mostly the style sheet API. I rarely see Tailwind, something that we've tried or we've seen in some code bases. We've seen some performance problems or stability problems, but this is only what I heard. I haven't used that library. For
I
example,
can tell a bit more about the NativeWind and all of the issues it causes, like cons and pros, but after you.
Yeah. Maybe don't make it into like ranting session on some libraries. It's I'm pretty sure it's a good library, and
not a rant.
Dan Stepanov, I think he's making a great work to deal
Talking
to
about
work.
only fans, his his Twitter
Only
account
Dance,
is only dance.
Yeah. So yeah, and also like throughout 2023, 2024, we've seen a lot of vibe coding, and whenever I see a like a cursor or some other LLMs doing doing the styling for you, they will like really often do a pretty good job. So we were doing that for some demos of mobile applications to make them look a little better. We're using V0 for that as well, and they're using their own models now. This is the guy from Tailwind, not Tailwind,
Dan,
NativeWind.
it's really hard to find your nickname on the internet
Yeah.
using only dance.
Yeah.
Or
I
Łukasz,
really
you just,
struggle to not click in on the other
Łukasz,
link.
you should create like another one, only puns, and
Okay,
and
let's
do
see.
some
Maybe
dad
it
jokes
exists
there.
already.
Yeah.
Only puns.
or only bans and ban everyone.
Yep, that's
Already exists.
an endless
Yeah.
bit.
Mike, I think you answered some question in the chat about the replacement for code push as well. Should we talk
yeah.
about that for a little bit?
Yeah, so as anyone out there who use code push, we are like experimenting with a bunch of options that are now available. Now that code push is sunset, and so far we've used quite a bunch of solutions actually. For some clients, we were developing some custom solutions, maybe hosting the JavaScript files for them, or hosting on some buckets online, or behind their VPN if this is like internal app. Like there are different circumstances, and some 2 or 3 solutions that are standing out and on my radar are Hot Updater from Gronx-B. So you can check that library out. It has a great CLI that basically takes you step by step on setting up your OTA from scratch for a lot of different providers, and it will allow you to host those on S3, for example, or some or on Supabase. Yeah, I think some other providers as well, and I can tell you the maintainer of Hot Updater is also like super active. He's contributing to our enterprise framework as well. So that this is the so Hot Updater is the only over-the-air update that we know that works seamlessly with the enterprise framework. Another thing and another one that I want to take a look at this week, hopefully, is DOTA. It's over-the-air update from Dream 11, and Dream 11 is a nice company, some unicorn from India. I think they're covering Fantasy League for IPL, for cricket, and as a part of that, they have, I think, over 2 million users. So they hit some scale challenges as well, and they developed this fork of Code Push, which is currently it's a server. I've seen the roadmap. I think it's pretty internal, but something they wanna ship in the next few weeks and few months would be a client for OTA, which is essentially a React Native library that's compatible with new architecture, because with Code Push it's not by default.
Can I chime in with one question?
Yeah.
Possibly I will introduce a little bit more people to this conversation. If you could explain in your own simplified words, what is the OTA, why it's like important topic to learn about, and like why are people looking for alternatives?
Yeah. So over-the-air update is a way to send dynamic code to your application without passing the extra App Store review. So we are able to do it by JavaScript, because JavaScript is interpreted language, and we can either hot reload our bundle, or just put because when your React Native app is on a device, it's in this app binary, APK or ABB or IPA on iOS, and inside it will have a main.js bundle, and this bundle is either JavaScript or Hermes bytecode. Hermes is the JavaScript engine that runs your JavaScript, and bytecode is like an optimization format. You're probably using that if you're building any React Native application, and with over the update systems like Code Push, they're able to swap that JavaScript part into a new one. So, for example, the next time you open the app, or when you reload it somehow, you'll get a new JavaScript with, for example, new functionality or bug fixes, or anything actually. And this is pretty important selling point for React Native, because native apps can't do that other than loading some JSON that would be configuration for driving the UI.
So
yeah.
How do the places like Play Store or App Store, how do they look on technology like that? Because those companies are very, very keen on checking quality, etc. So, is there any risk with using OTA in my app?
So I would say as long as you're not replacing your app content with something completely different, there's like there is a risk, but it's like super low. I haven't really seen an application that was banned from the App Store because of the over-the-air update. And it's not that different from A/B testing, for example, where you can have all the code directly on your device, and with a flip of a switch on the server, you will get different functionality for different user or the next time you open the app. So I think Apple and Google and other app stores are not really, like, theoretically they can ban your app. Practically they are never doing it. And if you're using over-the-air updates to fix the crashes, for example, that are coming from JavaScript, that's like the ideal use case, right? If you're delivering new functionality or like completely redesigning the app without going through the App Store process, that may be something that will that could
for now,
prevent
this
you.
is
Yeah.
kind of a gray area still.
In theory, yes. In practice,
Because I would like to ask a question from one of the viewers, Code Critical, and also Code Critical. I will come back to your question about CSS and JS because I would really like to talk about that. But before that, what about security? Can developers push malware which then bypass the review process? Should users be worried?
So if this malware is able to use just JavaScript or are already available native libraries, then yes, of course, and that's the same for any other app. So if your native app will get through the App Store review and no one will notice the malware. You got the malware app on your device, and now as a user, should you be worried or not? Of course, you should be worried, and you should be using apps from reliable developers, right? And so I would say there is always a risk, regardless of using tools like Code Push or using over-the-air update or not. With over-the-air update, you have more flexibility as a hacker, I would say. That's about it. But at the same time, you cannot ship any like new native code, right? So it's I guess it's hard. It's harder.
Where I see those possible problems would be like replacing some variables that will start suddenly redirecting users to some malware sites, etc. But so my main problem, I would say, because of course it is amazing technology, helps the developers speed up the development process, fix up the bugs and everything. But part of me kind of sees that as we are one rotten apple away from breaking the fun for everyone. Because if that's not yet kind of I don't know how to even say that, regulated.
Well, like this question was asked and answered like many years ago. Apple was like hesitant about this for a long time. They are now, like Mike said, they're not actively encouraging it, but at the same time, they're not stopping developers of doing that. It brings a lot of benefits. It brings some risks. The benefits are if you have a security vulnerability in your app, you can fix it with JavaScript if this is like doable in JavaScript in one day instead of few days. So like, I don't know, like, and also like the question, should users be worried? Users have nothing to add to the discussion. Sorry to say that, but like, if you're using the app, you agree to like some terms and conditions, and like, it's up to developers to use the technologies reasonably, let's say.
Yeah, I would say it's also a matter of the platform that you're using. So, for example, as an iOS user, I have way more trust in the apps that are there because I know there is a more thorough review. I've experienced that as a developer as well, and there is way less of a chance that I will get a malware or a application that is trying to impersonate another one. On Android, on the other side, that's a different story because it's way easier to get your app there, and the automated checks or the review process is I would say more forgiving. I think it's changing recently, so Google is making some moves here to increase the security, add some notion of verified apps, etc. At the same time, it's there's still a lot of like same looking apps that may trick you into being the official one. So it's also a matter of trust to the platform that you're using.
So yeah, to add to that, in terms of should users be worried, as a user, all you can do is like stay vigilant. Like even assuming that somebody would, like completely abstract option, right? Somebody steals your access to the code push and everything, and he code pushes some malware stuff onto your device. Like device still has plenty of protection inside of the device itself. And also most probably app would suddenly have to ask about some additional permissions, and this would have to go through the review process, and this could not be code pushed. Am I right? Because this would require basically changes in the native version to add permissions to the manifest.
Yeah, more or less.
If you're changing anything in native, it has to go through native. But like what you could have done was ask for permissions in your initial version of the app, make up a good reason why you need them, and then you can use them as you wish in the next JS updates.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Łukasz, how is your Instagram scrollable feed of cards?
It's okay. I have to accept all of this. Let's see. I see nothing. Replace your Unsplash access. Like, I don't need an Unsplash. Use different API. What's the API for?
Yeah.
Yeah, just ask it to base64 some image for you.
Oh, because it wants to use the actual images. Oh wow. Oh wow, wait. Could you actually ask an LLM to like hash an image for you? I mean, to like generate bytes or base64 image for you, like a simple image?
From existing image?
No, like, create for me, I don't know, a face and encode it in base64.
Well, I wouldn't ask Cursor to do that, but probably ChatGPT can.
I'm gonna try it right now.
Yeah.
Because I'm curioso.
Well, this is my side project. You can talk about whatever you want to talk about. Let me work with my Cursor I'm not sure
Yeah,
if
so
it's gonna work.
I
But what I
have,
want to
like-
do is I want to create like a basic app, and then I want to say, now make it look like LinkedIn, or now make it look like Facebook, and it should do that, basically.
Should.
with-
No,
with
I don't care
couple
about
of
your
prompts.
shoulds.
Well, like I created a website for my wife, and then like it was a few months ago, and I just said in Cursor, make it make it look better, and it did that. Oh, honestly, like that's not a like high traffic website or anything like that, so I don't really care about all of the
Listen,
rules being followed.
What annoys me about all of those like Cursor and LLM stuff, people now are so obsessed about ability to do stuff that nobody even asks themselves like, how should it look like? How should I do it? Like, oh, nah, sorry, but AI created for me a stylized face, and behind that it's just like gibberish base 64. Nope, that's not what I meant. Because one thing that surprised me a lot. Everyone now has access to all of those, vibe coding tools, and everyone can create apps with like a couple of clicks. I don't see a huge amount of apps anywhere. You know what I mean?
What?
I mean, if I would hear that, if I heard that so many people now have access to all of those vibe coding tools and everyone can just jam out apps left and right, I would assume that sooner rather than later there will be plenty of apps, like on app stores, etc., etc. But I don't hear and see, like, we went full into quantity. Where is the quality? The quality
Yeah.
apps
Quality
are
is
still on
still
the
in
top.
human
Let's be
developers.
real. You haven't heard about the state of React Native survey as well. So
Yeah,
I wouldn't say.
Shots fired. Shots
Yeah.
fired.
being very, I would say that's a skill issue on my behalf.
Yeah. So
okay, I might not be digging too much into like social media and stuff like that, but I don't know.
yeah, just kidding.
I just don't like the best jokes are the ones that are too real, and you are correct. I don't see like maybe I didn't do any deep dives into that, but I just believe that okay, kind of more from my perspective, right? Look at all of that AI garbage created games on on multiple like PlayStation platform and Steam and all of those platforms, right? There is a bunch of like low-level games created with low-level assets and low-level plan, like basically everything from the same template, right? But there are still, even with all of this noise, there are still amazing games that are cutting through that. Like for instance, like latest two games, Expedition 33 and Balatro, right? Amazing games created with passion, with love, with care, and they cut through the noise with ease, I would even say. So I don't know, like I'm very happy that people have access to all of those tools and that you can create stuff like, very fast and nice, but still it requires like this precision, knowledge and intent in order to create a nice quality app. You can't just, flow, like, overflow the market. Whoa, my microphone. Overflow the market with everything and, suddenly make billions. Like even with those like AI generated content you see on multiple different platforms, maybe the content generated is not, too hard, but there's still intent behind that and pipelines and care. So yeah, sorry for the rant.
But like, Kevin, again, like this is not about the availability of tools or like ease of production. It has always been about the products. Like it's not really hard to copy Instagram right now, and it wasn't hard to copy Instagram basic layout and like everything.
Yeah, I can
15
see
years
how
ago.
good you are doing
It was
on that.
really easy to build an Instagram clone in Java or React Native or whatever, right? But for some reason, it's Instagram that's got bought by Facebook back then for like $1 billion or whatever, and not all of the other apps. And like, it's about products, and it's about like systems, and it's about like communities, all of that. Product like in broader terms, not about like how easy it is to create something. And like, it's even the other way around. If something is easy to create, it's gonna be even harder for you to compete in that market, because like there are a bunch of other people that can copy your product in 2 days right now.
Fair enough, and make it better.
Yeah, it's not about creating a Flappy Bird, like 10th or 100th copy of Flappy Bird. It's about creating the first Flappy Bird, which is like not about the skill of developer. It's about the idea, like the first idea, how to like interact, like how to hook users into flopping the bird or whatever.
Yeah, I have a couple of ideas how you can suggest your users that.
I was unsuccessful in using the Unsplash API for now.
Well, but no worries. Your app looks beautiful currently.
Keep going. Ask for
It's
some
great.
API keys.
This is the definition of failing in public.
But you are doing great at it.
Yeah. So
Like
I'm failing
you
great.
convinced
So
me.
did you get the API key?
Yeah, so like it says, so it's not the first time that Cursor wanted me to do something in an improper way. I had the same with API, Instagram API, where like this is probably not how you do that, because there are no
possibly.
Unsplash access key here. There are only, so I have my app. Let's go here. I have my, where is my app? Okay, so that's my profile. Collections. I don't have any collections. Let's say I go here. I don't have any application. I just created an application. Okay, so maybe here, your apps. I have this. I have one application. And then I need to add photos here. Keys. Application. Oh, I should not be
Yeah.
doing this. Okay.
Generate a new key.
It's there. It's not gonna be.
So it's access key.
not gonna
Let's
be
see. If I do this,
Yeah, I mean, you are going to copy and paste.
it's gonna
anyways.
be, what? It works. Okay.
Oh yeah, it's totally like Instagram.
Okay. So look, this is not Instagram, right? So
Yeah.
I'm gonna say,
I barely
make
recognized it.
nicer.
What? But that's such a non-word.
Should I say make it more nice or what?
Yeah,
No.
we'll see.
I
So-
mean, the word is correct. It's just like a not request. Make it nicer.
So
Well,
yeah,
I'm-
can you check what did it use for styling?
I bet it's
This is just style sheet.
Shit. Style.
I
I
can
hate that word.
I can
Yeah.
add NativeWind if you want, if you like.
No, I'm rather interested in what it does by default, right? So it's
Yes, that's
it's like it will likely default to the mostly used option, which is style sheet create API, and you could also ask about animations, and I would be curious whether it would use the animated API or reanimate it, and yeah, you could. I guess you could run some experiments like that. I think last time we tried with the team actually somewhere today. By default, it would use the animated API, and you would need to override the prompt to make it use some library. But we'll do it for you if you ask it. Yeah.
You know what? There is. I spoke with my friend from my project some time ago, and they mentioned that or maybe I saw, anyway, like with current help from plenty of AI tools, they are amazing, great, and fast at solving easy to solve issues and problems. So all that is left for developers are all of those hard, annoying issues that require in-depth knowledge. And since AI became a real thing, I believe that working as a developer actually became harder and more stressful because you are left with mainly those unsolvable by AI issues, and that's a little bit annoying. Like I would prefer for AI to solve all of those hardcore bugs and let me just write nice creative code and screens from the scratch, etc.
How about like if you work on a code base, right? And you have not created this like yesterday. This code base has been around for, I don't know, 8 years or whatever. That code base would be written by tens of or hundreds of people, and it would have like a lot of like deprecated code, legacy code, stuff like that. This is like the same that is going to happen with AI and is happening with AI already. People are using AI too much and not really paying attention to what they ship. And then like someone like us will have to go in, and it's not going to be hard problems. It's not going to be like those like deep knowledge problems. It's going to be understanding the whole code base and re-architecturing, and it's going to be like refactoring existing solutions so they're more maintainable. And AI can help you with that, but you need to know how to work with AI in order for it to help you structure the code in a proper way.
Yeah, like one of the problems with AI is that it doesn't actually have any of that in-depth, higher level knowledge. So a great example actually is Reanimated, because it works with all of those shared values and animating values, and it kind of works in a different way than pure React. And in order to write correctly animations with Reanimated, you need to kind of understand.
Can I stop you for a minute? This looks like LinkedIn now.
No, this looks like a cheap ripoff of LinkedIn.
Yeah, I know, but like it looks nicer than it used to before, and it looks like a cheap ripoff of LinkedIn.
But we were aiming for nice and amazing, not in that cheap ripoff.
So we know now what Cursor is learning from.
From
LinkedIn instead of Instagram.
But that's another issue with that, because I think Łukasz, we spoke about that on the last stream, right? Like what would happen if OpenAI would wait for 1 year or 2 years longer before releasing their LLM? Because previously all of those companies could have just scrape the internet and get from that high quality human-made content, maybe not always high quality, but human-made content, right? Everything made with the brains. But now if you would scrape the internet, most probably you'll get like 30, 40, maybe even % of AI generated crap. So basically all of the data for preparing a nice base model, it's flawed, and it's like flawed forever, basically, unless there will be like amazing tools to siphon out the content. But there is another issue. Like the more AI there is on the internet, the less are people like interested and enticed to create content and to create with like come on, okay,
Michał,
explain your face.
If you haven't noticed, these live streams are about Kevin just ranting about things. Don't knowing the state of React Native, don't knowing the what was the last week? The storybook.
I will learn it.
And then ranting how we don't need the storybook and how we don't need AI, etc., etc.
No, I never said you don't need a story. I mean, it depends on the case.
You probably don't need storybook.
You probably do.
He said it! Yay!
That's an article material. Yeah, you probably don't need use effect, etc.
Okay, so I succeeded. Let's.
But like the way I recently learned how to cope with those things, because let's be honest, at some point we'll learn something that's obvious somewhere for a year or two, maybe a decade, like our parents are discovering Instagram or Facebook right now, right? Some are also discovering ChatGPT, which is also like a interesting sign, and the way I think I've seen on the XKCD comic strip, how you could look at those is that you're one in a 10,000 people that that is fortunate to learn about it today, because there's like 300 million Americans. Divide that by all the days, all the information, and I think you get around that every day. There's gonna be like 10,000 people learning about some stuff if you go with linear approximation, etc. So yeah, you've just been a happy person learning about this new thing called how is it called? Storybook, yeah.
Yeah. See, Łukasz, when you were reading all of that stuff about Storybook, I was learning how to juggle. And when you were reading all of that stuff about some fancy new site with the news, I was learning how to paint miniatures. So these are real life skills that will take me. No, I'm
Well, those are the skills that AI cannot take from you.
Exactly. I think if you want to be completely safe from AI, two things you would have to learn. I mean, what you can choose. Either be a skydiving teacher, skydiving coach, basically, because we are still years before somebody will strap a computer to your back and allow you to jump from the plane. And second option is diving coach or diving teacher, because this is kind of the same. Like nobody gonna strap a laptop to you with LLM and like allow it to teach you how to swim. So these are two jobs. Oh wow, that's
this looks nice.
What style is this?
I just said make
Dracula Midnight.
I said oh fuck, what is it? Make up some crazy style, use red, green, blue, Comic Sans font. Okay, so this is not Comic Sans font.
Code Critical VR skydiving will not teach you anything. Like the you could say that after VR boxing, you can go to a ring.
So it's but you know there are these game racers that went into real car racing,
but they have all of
successful.
this like huge simulators. Like you know,
so what is VR?
But if you would give me a punching bag that would punch me back, and like you know, that I would also learn how to you know fight maybe. Okay, actually, you could strap an LLM to a wind tunnel. But no, it's like people still need. There is still need a person that will, because you know, with the skydiving, it's not just falling down. You also need a proper position and adjustment, and you can't learn that in VR. You know
guess
what?
You can.
If you can turn that into Fallout 4.
So much things I learned by watching it on YouTube, and already seen some papers where robots are learning from some skills by watching YouTube as well, or some other videos. So yeah, Kevin, I think you're just making some excuses. You know, eventually they're gonna get us. Don't be too worried about that.
I don't
So
believe
far, we
that.
can at least enjoy writing cursor, playing with it. This looks like Vicop
I said that
right
it should
now.
be in Winamp style.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
okay.
makes
Okay,
sense.
it's like 50% close.
So my point on this wasn't that it's gonna do a perfect job. My point on it was the UI library is not the solution to make my app beautiful. AI is not the solution as well, but like
Yeah.
UI
Good
libraries
prompting is.
are
God damn it, that's a pretty good Fallout 4.
yeah. So like you need just to know how you want your app to look like, and then like prompt it.
Yeah, like one of the things that it just annoys me so hard whenever people are saying, I don't know how to use LLMs or I don't know how to use ChatGPT. Because when people say that, all I can hear is, I am unable to explain what I want. I'm unable to talk. I'm
Yeah.
unable, because that's like once, I'm going to call out my friend. Once my friend sent me a message asking that, oh, you are so much into AI, like I'm working on a presentation. Could you help me prompt ChatGPT to get a nice, like presentation plan? What should I say in the prompt? And I told him, you know what? Literally copy and paste what you just sent me. And you will get like exactly what you need. And before I said
There's a
that,
great-
I copy and pasted, and I got exactly like the presentation plan that he wanted.
Michał, I don't know if you know this. Gamma AI,
I thought it's grandma.
I don't know this.
but it
See,
helps.
Łukasz, we are working while you are scouring the internet.
So I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this. It's in Polish, and the translation is really bad. But
Doesn't this like actually seem kind of
So-
suspicious already? If you have like this page that is promoting itself as great AI tool, and they don't even have enough like proper AI to translate the page.
Oh, so it's gonna create.
it's gonna
some
create me a
slides?
presentation about React Native.
Is it displaying images or
It's gonna
Oh
do
my-
all of
PowerPoint?
it.
Łukasz, Rahil has a great idea. Go back to your app.
Oh,
Apple liquid
yes.
glass.
Yeah, let's do that. Give me a moment. Let me just generate this so that you can see this amazing presentation that I just created. And I can just take this presentation and like go with it to a meetup or whatever and just deliver it. Because I know the content. So because I know React Native, I just needed 8 slides to show something. And then I have the 8 slides to show something. So I can
Too much text.
I can tweak with text and with images and stuff like that. So like this is
Yeah. Okay. So pitch me React Native.
so React Native is a powerful cross-platform mobile app technology.
I
And
can read it,
then-
Mr. Łukasz. Present the presentation, not read the presentation.
So React Native is JavaScript and
Damn, it
React,
has
and
animations.
core philosophy is learn once, write everywhere. And then you have is JavaScript bridge, well,
Not
and then
anymore.
native modules, well,
Not anymore.
not anymore.
Hermes. Okay.
And then you have Hermes,
We're
and
in
then you have
2022.
native UI components. What's nice about this, so blah, 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 right? But what's nice about this is
Yeah,
that
it gives you a nice template.
it gives you like a template, and then you can tweak it, right? And then when I do this, it's gonna add. You know how hard it is to do that in PowerPoint or like Google Slides or whatever.
Yeah.
Yes.
To, like
I know.
to make this and then to change the icon or whatever. It's so easy here to do that.
Can you export this presentation somewhere?
I can export it to PowerPoint. I can export it to Google Slides as well.
And this is free?
And it's not like, well, it's free if you want to create 8 slides. It's not free if you want to post your own text, create 20 slides, and like use some better AI or whatever. I
So
paid
basically
for
it's
it when I
paid.
was creating presentations before. So like I paid for
Okay.
1 month in order to use it for 1 week to create like a good starting point for my presentation.
React wider adopt the what.js fuhortensi.
But like even the images, if you disregard this, the image is nice. It's
Yes,
actually
yes, it is.
good image. You don't have
Except
to
for
scour
the
the
Facebook
web
logo.
for like image to put on the slide.
Yeah,
The image is not
Facebook
what matters
icon
in this
is
presentation.
great.
It's Fork's book.
Yeah.
So yeah, back to
Yeah,
liquid glass.
I'm pretty. Actually, the editor is pretty nice in this. I think this is the biggest deal in that tool.
Yeah, like give me that editor without any AI and I would still use it, I think.
Well, the editor is nice. Yeah. So how do I go back here? It's actually really nice. And what I can do with this slide is make it, make it more visual. So it's gonna work some magic on it and create me a new version of this slide. Something different. I didn't have to work on it. I just clicked one button. Yeah.
Yep, pretty cool.
It's amazing when you have to create presentations really fast on topic that you know about, and that doesn't require you to create like nice animations on like really visual site.
Yeah, yeah.
Just like
You know what?
some
I
boilerplate.
don't
I
have-
think
If
I
you
think
don't have
that
reference slides or something like this in your design brand book or something, this may be pretty helpful for some meetup presentations, I guess.
but I
or for
honestly think
school.
that if you know the topic, you don't even need the presentation. That's
Well, you need
my-
something. You need some bullet points on the slides so that you can present it to people. You can't just stand there with your face on the wall.
You
or
can,
whatever.
you can.
I
You
have a
can
pretty
show-
interesting face.
You can show like, headlines and the most important thing. You don't even need to. show
Exactly.
bullet points,
And
yeah.
in order to create headlines in nice visual way, you're gonna waste 30 minutes at least. And it's gonna create it for you in 30 seconds. So like you just save 30 minutes because you
Yeah.
need the headlines.
And
Yeah,
then you can
okay.
spend it on the stream.
Yeah. And then Kevin, if your face is too interesting, it's gonna divert the audience attention from the content to your face. So
Well,
it's
my
not
face was,
it's not
was
really
never too interesting. It was just interesting.
Does it look like liquid glass though?
No,
A little bit.
It looks better than liquid glass.
Well, it has the same kind of like grayish vibe to it.
But maybe it actually looks like liquid glass, but it doesn't have anything behind it. Because in order for the liquid glass feel, you need the background.
Sure, yeah, you need the glass part. You need the liquid glass part to have a liquid glass design.
Okay, I'm trying to think about any. Ooh, okay. Make it in the style of Skyrim skill tree. The skill tree from Skyrim.
Should we do some maybe React Native news or whatever? Like we have things to talk about.
Okay, so if you would like, we can go back to the code critical question.
Oh, okay.
What's your take on CSS? If you could put the question on the screen. What's your take on CSS in JS? The AI adoption of Tailwind CSS is unbelievable. Is Tailwind CSS the new default going forward? Is there any future for new CSS in JS library solutions like StyleX, etc.? So
why would you need the CSS in JS if you have Tailwind? CSS in JS was a distraction. Community moved on from it. That's my take. Honestly, I don't hear about it anymore. We all agree that like CSS in JS is just a bad idea. I think there were many issues with it, performance mostly. or like compatibility, I guess, as well.
Can you?
Michał, correct me
I
if
know
I'm wrong.
I know what we are talking about, but can you, for context, show me on the screen a snippet with CSS in JS?
Okay, what I can do is I can say, don't use style sheets, use CSS in JS.
You are not
library.
right. Oh, you're right.
Like, what's the library that's restyle?
Style X.
Style
Restyle.
components.
Styled components. That's the most known one.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
it's a
styled
maintenance mode.
components. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So I can show you how this would look in styled components way.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, that's actually quite
So,
fun
like-
way to present everything as we go.
This CSS in JS, as name suggests, is putting your styles into your, how do I say that, composition layer, like component layer. It
Into the
shouldn't
main
be there.
component file.
To
It
your
should
view,
live
yeah.
in its own layer, like style layer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Does it? So tell me, how are you styling your React Native components? Where
Well-
do you put your style?
Like,
You put it where the component is, right?
I'm co-locating the style
Yeah.
file in the same
this
folder
was
as component.
This was the biggest premise behind CSS and JS when Visual, I'm not sure how to read his Twitter username, but the guy who basically created React Native prettier in CSS and JS. He works at Meta, and the idea was about collocating the style to what it's styling, because the problem with web is that styling is global, and because it at the beginning the documents were global, and the web was all about documents. Then we started to use component model and put things in some Lego block, compose JavaScript together, and it started to be pretty unhelpful and unreliable to style our component-based application in a global way. So developers started to seek for some solution to that, and CSS and JS was one of them, right? So I wouldn't say there were like a lot of performance problems with it. That depends on the library. At Callstack we've developed a library called Linaria, which is CSS and JS library that statically compiles your CSS away to a static file, so you don't pay any runtime cost. That was different from style components or Glamour. I think that was the name of the library from Ketsy Dots, where they were applying the styles at runtime, and there was a cost runtime cost to that. When we inspected some of React Native apps styled with style components, these apps were re-rendering their components way more often than regular style sheet created styled applications, and the difference was like 30 to even 50% worse runtime performance, or which is the time to render the same component when it was styled in style sheet versus style components. So I guess this is what Łukasz meant about performance problems
the performance
with that approach.
overhead.
However,
It's this,
with React Native and in the mobile Android and iOS, there is no concept of global styling. You're attaching the style to the view model that you're currently interacting with, and hence in React Native, don't need to worry about global styles, and we could efficiently style our components using JavaScript, because there is a different styling and layout mechanics that's in the mobile applications versus web applications. So in React Native, we are using CSS and JS. We're just not using CSS syntax, but we're using CSS-like syntax in form of objects. But that's basically the same idea, and it will be great to actually support CSS in forms of CSS modules, so we could copy paste web code, for example, or in form of some template literals that would make our apps understand CSS and translate that to the styling properties of our mobile applications. We have some efforts in our incubator R&D, where Mario is working on bringing the CSS rendering pipeline into React Native. We'll see if this makes sense, because the problems that we're hitting is we will need to decouple some of the React Native's rendering pipeline, which currently couples Yoga, the layout engine, and Shadow Tree, which is representation of the JavaScript objects that are then converted to the UI views, for example.
Like with the NativeWind, like both NativeWind and Tailwind, what's great about them is that these are basically bunch of really helpful and really nice like shortcuts to achieve what you could achieve with CSS, but with lesser words and more
it's
described way.
What it is abstraction layer, like a syntax for CSS.
Yes, yeah.
That you need to as well learn.
There is the one. I mean, when I was writing my apps for web apps, I was totally using Tailwind and Shadcyan. These were my two complete favorites. And anytime I start a project, I add those two, because Tailwind is actually speeding up the work. I'm not a fan of putting all of the class names into the class name inside the component, but you can extract it to CSS file as well. When we started one of the projects with React, with the NativeWind, though, we hit a pretty big issue that we couldn't really overcome. And we, at the end of the day, decided to go back to style sheet. The problem we encountered was that NativeWind, it's not compiled in runtime. It's like once you run the app, it basically parses all of the styles you were using. It prepares the app to handle those styles. And Tailwind works in the same way. So one of the things I would encourage you to try, if you will manage that, I will be very surprised. Using Tailwind or NativeWind, add rotating component. It's basically impossible, because because if you are adding rotate.
This is so simple to disprove. Okay. Sorry, let me interrupt. Let's put a pin in that. So what we will be doing is using NativeWind to add a rotating element. Okay,
yes.
Let's do that. So that's our task for the next 3 minutes. I wanted you to just notice that we redid the styles with styled components. This is how it looks. This is the function call, actually. The how is it called? String template.
Template literal.
Yeah.
Template literal. Yeah. So this is how you use it. I don't like it. I used it in some projects, and now let's rewrite the styles in
NativeWind.
Wind.
Yeah, okay, guys. I need to run. I thought I'm gonna join for 5 minutes. It turned out I'm
Thanks
here
a
for an
lot.
hour
It
or
was a
so.
stimulating discussion.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks.
Yeah, so enjoyed it and have fun turning your Instagram Apple
Instagram/Apple Liquid Glass /
Apple Liquid
LinkedIn
Glass,
clone.
yeah,
Applegram.
into whatever dildo telemetry your
Teledildonics. What is the dildo telemetry?
what I'm saying. So have fun doing so, and see you next time.
See ya. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. I'm gonna let the other mic know that we have a space for a guest.
A spot just freed. You won't be able to add rotation with Tailwind CSS, and the reason is it's baked in not at the runtime. So you can't just add, like, change the string name and add it because
Let's just say, let's just try.
Mike is listening. You won't be able to.
Okay, can I just try? Mike,
No.
please come to the stream because I need to focus on making things rotate.
You won't. I mean, go ahead, but there will be also plenty of problems with, like, preparing your
What does
app
it mean?
to work with NativeWind.
Well, I'm not paying attention to my AI, and it doesn't know how to. Okay, Mike will be here in a second. And my AI doesn't know how to use NativeWind.
I will prepare for that because you took your short break. I'm gonna do the same.
Wait for Mike to get here. I don't want to be here alone.
Oh, okay. and last time you're like, keep people entertained. I'm gonna go. But okay. I won't be doing that to you because you also now have a separate job of rotating stuff with Tailwind CSS, and you won't be able to.
Well, like, to be honest with you, I use Tailwind on the web. I think I have not used NativeWind. So this is me first time installing this.
But you won't be able to do that with Tailwind as well. Like, this was one of the, like, I was making pen. I always forget that pentatonic wheel. No, well, how is it called? It's not pentatonic wheel. Yeah, it's pentatonic wheel. Tonic wheel. Pentatonic scale? God, yeah, pentatonic scale, the pentatonic wheel. So I was trying to do that, and I was trying to write a function that will display all of those segments of pentatonic wheel, but I wasn't able to do it with Tailwind because when I inserted a function that in runtime created all of those steps and added the degrees of transfer of rotation, it failed, and it failed constantly. So I had to mix in, and I did that. And at the end of the day, I have the Tailwind with mixed in styles, like low level just styles passed down for transformations. And that's kind of annoying because you will hit a point where after some time you will have to add custom styles to override.
Hello.
Hey, Mike.
Hello.
I didn't to interrupt you guys, but I just did.
That's cool.
Every time I see you, you look completely different.
Thank you. It's
and that was a compliment.
Thank you. Now I'm having fun with this James Dean style type of haircut. So as you can see, I'm taking advantage of my hair. All right, guys. So where are we? What's the deal here? And What are we
Well,
doing?
we were just talking about teledildonics.
Okay.
Have you been with us since the beginning? Have you listened to the beginning of the stream?
Briefly. From
We
what
were
Mike
talking
P told
about
me, you
porn
guys were.
industry.
Then I definitely missed that part.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we were talking about how porn industry is really behind the scenes of many of like web development breakthroughs, like payments and like video streaming and like teledildonics.
Yeah,
Stuff
and
like
that's
that.
the word we learned today, that this is basically an IoT connected. And then we tried to figure out if there are MCP servers that will allow you to connect your LLM with the teledildonics protocol. But then Łukasz decided that let's shift back to the more
Perhaps.
React Native related topics. And
I
that's
think
what
that
we
was
did.
that was a very smart idea. So I see you guys are vibe coding the app. So what are you vibe coding, and what is the plan for the rest of the live stream?
We were waiting for you to get into the React Native 080 release. We can just
Okay.
like switch gears. Right now, what we were doing is just answering the questions. If you need the UI library to style your app, and my take is no, you need AI and you need to know what you want to achieve. What we did with this app is like we created this in like bunch of different styles with just few prompts. Look like LinkedIn, look like Apple Liquid Glass UI, blah blah blah. And now what we are trying to, so then we changed from style sheets to styled components. Then like right now what I'm trying to do is to add NativeWind to this in order to validate Kevin's claim that you cannot rotate things in NativeWind or Tailwind.
I should have been more precise.
Which is most definitely bullshit.
I should have been more precise. You cannot create a function that will generate for you components with like steps of rotation. So if you would create a component with, let's say, a view, a piece of pizza, right? And you will create a function that returns like 8 slices, each rotated with some specific amount of degrees. It will not be able to do that because the function will be executed in the runtime. But in order for NativeWind to have all of the styles necessary, it needs to parse them before.
It can't. It's just like it is doable. Like I don't know because I don't know how to use Tailwind or NativeWind, but it is doable. Like
no,
obviously it needs to be doable.
I mean, no. No. I tried. I really tried, and I couldn't figure it out. You are unable to write it in a function because it's difference between preparing the styles and.
Let's do this. Let's switch the gears and actually talk about React Native news now in the next like 1 hour or whatever. I'm gonna vibe code this right after the stream, and I'm gonna post the solution on the Twitter or wherever. Okay.
So in order, please. Okay, you know what? Make for me a function that will render me a pizza with 8 slices.
Okay. That's my task. I'm gonna do it today.
Yes, sorry, I use Polish. Tak.
And then let's switch gears.
But first, I need to take a short break for.
Take a short sheet.
Don't say what's the break for. I think we appreciate it. I think Łukasz, going through the release and other updates is actually going to be quite fun, because to be honest with you, I do have my inbox is pretty much zero at this point, except I have 5 emails in my inbox, and all these 5 emails are React Native newsletter that I promised myself to read at some point, and they just keep stacking up. So I figured when I reached out to you the first time about this live stream a couple of weeks ago, the idea was that at least maybe that will be a good excuse for us to go through it.
Yeah.
So I'm down for that. And honestly, I have no idea what's currently the latest and greatest. So we can jump right into it.
So like the day that we record this, that we live stream this, is not really great because this week in React is released I guess on Wednesdays.
Okay,
Meaning
so
we should be doing this on Thursday so that we
I
can
see.
read this. Yeah. So in this latest one from June 11th, which is June 11th was
almost a week ago, I guess.
yeah. So that's Wednesday. That's Wednesday last week, and what we have here is that React Native 080. Where is it? Yeah, React Native 080 is just around the corner, so it's not here. But we can just like go ahead and go to React Native Dev site and just read the announcement from blog post. And like right from the start, I wanted to ask you, because like you were a part of the release team before. I saw your name in those kind of blog posts regularly, like 4 years ago, 5 years ago or something. So can you just like share some thoughts how though that work looks like how releasing React Native looked like those like 4 years ago?
Now, I guess these days I feel like it's much better, different, and definitely more standardized. When back in the day, when I was doing those releases with the team, I think we didn't even have too much of security measurements in place. Like I don't think I ever had two-factor auth enabled. And it was as simple as me having access to the NPM package, and I would go and publish and maybe unpublish, which was actually pretty unusual considering that those packages are often managed and run by Meta, so you would consider them tight from the security perspective. And I think the process was rather easy. I mean, the workflow was very manual. Over time, me and Lorenzo created and refined a sort of release process checklist that involved going through certain steps. And those steps were rather easy. You were just supposed to build a ARM tester locally, click through it, make sure that it renders, make sure that it looks good. There were some manual checks involved. We also had screenshot testing back in the day, which helped. And once you were happy with all these things, you would normally just, at this point, I don't really remember, to be honest, what was the correct process, but I think at the very, very beginning, it was an NPM publish that I was running from my local laptop, hence the direct access. And I do remember NPM unpublishing some
Do you
broken
remember
packages.
which version it was?
Oh, like 0.30-ish, 40-ish, something very early for sure. And then as it grew, we added CI/CD. So the process of manual testing was replaced with GitHub Actions. And these days, the process is way more democratized, I would say, in this aspect. We have more partners, we have more contributors, and there is a ton of documents on how to do this. Back in the day, it was obviously harder. And I think the reason why perhaps there wasn't too many people interested in taking up this task was that it actually required a lot of stuff to do. I remember at least myself or Lorenzo in that aspect, among other people, spending around a week of our time to go through it. Because then when you were the release master for, say, 0.50, you were also supposed to monitor the repo for issues, maintain dedicated issues for each patch release, manually cherry pick and resolve conflicts as you are cherry picking to the release branch, testing and publishing, right? So, I would sort of manage the 50.1, for example, which includes the cutoff date, cherry picking backwards tweaks, some features requested by the community. Many times I would decide myself, but in confusing scenarios, I would ask the meta team. So, something like that. And then we just decided to write this down, describe it. At that point, I was slightly spread across different things at Callstack. So Lorenzo was more active, and Thibault from I always get confused how to pronounce his name correctly. But he's been maintaining WebView as well. He's from France.
Yeah.
Very long hair. Yeah, and very tall. So if you see like somebody who's like as tall as they could play basketball, that's him. So he was also spending a lot of time on the releases as well. And I think him and Lorenzo, they spent a lot of time documenting that together with other community members.
Okay, thanks. That's the Thibault.
Oh yeah, exactly. That's him.
Yeah.
He does. Yeah.
Cool. So actually I have React Native OAT. I guess it's OAT. I created this today. Yeah, that's the one running in this app. So if we want to look at some internals, we can. So
Oh, that's actually interesting. You created it just now?
I created this when I started like vibe
Oh, but
coding.
you okay, sorry. I kind of thought that the vibe coding created the boilerplate for you as well.
No, I created the like React Native init or whatever.
Okay.
I did that. Okay, so the highlights from OAT is JavaScript deep import deprecation, legacy architecture freezing and warnings, React 19.1, and then experimental React Native iOS dependencies are now pre-built. I guess this one is big because it allows us to like build faster. But maybe let's go like line by line. So this one. Is it a big issue right now in React Native community that people are using this? I guess this is not a good example as well, right? Because
I've heard about one exactly issue like that with Lodash. That even
okay, but that's React Native.
It's quite a breaking change, I think. You know,
it is.
I myself have spent quite some time on this pattern, to be honest.
So this is not breaking yet. They are just marking this as deprecated because
but nobody's
like
gonna
that
update
can
that
change.
Code. That code will be living for as long as we're alive, I guess.
But is it because a lot of those packages were turned into the community libraries, or?
I guess like when you have auto imports selected, like your VS Code might maybe like import from deep in the package instead of like the public API that's available here, and that's vulnerability for you because then like that path underneath might change. And like some API might change on that alert, but this alert will be stable.
Okay.
I did use, for example, when I was building my experiment with Fast.io, I often needed to rely on some private internal types, or perhaps use something that is RCT, whatever, not a public-facing API. So from the React Native perspective, I think this is a very smart move towards what we could consider a stable framework, right? And I think, the React Native team really wants to make sure that before they make any changes to the versions, they can really consider React Native Surface stable. So that makes sense. Although, as a library author and hacker, I rely on this quite a lot, right? So
I guess this change is more towards just like regular developers that don't know that they should be using this, that just like AI just like gave me this import and whatever, and like this can change in.
It kind of looks weird and suspicious, but I do agree, like Kevin said, sometimes those things can just pop up from the poor autocomplete.
Yeah. And if you are a library author or hacker, like you would know that you are doing something unsafe, like that you are doing maybe not something that you shouldn't be
Exactly.
doing. Like you should be doing this to achieve your goal, but then like you are aware that, oh, okay, maybe this will change. Maybe I'll need to import from other places next, or maybe I will need to change something, blah, blah, blah. There is a feedback thread for this. Okay, the discussion, why it matters. Why initially deprecated with morning, we aim to remove those imports path entirely. Yeah, which will be a breaking change at some point. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Let's go on.
that makes sense. Wait. So what is the can you go back to that comment?
Sure.
I'm curious, what was the answer to that? Because this is exactly the case that I was talking about.
So this is the guy who was speaking at App.js 2 weeks ago as well
Kirill.
about the keyboard controller.
Yeah, exactly. So this is exactly the case, although with a different API. It is interesting what the response from the team will be. It is definitely not an easy one because at one hand you want to make your framework flexible, and on the other hand, they cannot really expose everything now because it will just make the surface area too big.
But
Although
this
it's
is a good
interesting
solution,
one.
though. That's the solution for that dilemma, right? So you need to have a stable API that's limited in scope. At the same time, you want to give library authors and hackers a more flexible API. So you create this, you say that you will deprecate those APIs, and then you open a thread asking people, hey, what are you using that is not publicly available right now? And Krill is saying, oh, I'm using this. So yeah, maybe we'll need to like stack up the requests, and then we will figure out what parts we want to make publicly available and what parts like we will not want to make publicly available. I don't know.
The true, totally agree. And again, I'm sure that the Meta team has a lot of thoughts about it. They obviously spend a lot of time building APIs at scale. The immediate concern that I would see immediately, and here's another one from Mark, is right now, let's assume maybe 5 people in total rely on this private API to bring some additional features. Now, if we were to do this by the book, which means promoting this to be publicly available so people can consume it officially, you're going to create a public contract and additional burden on yourself because now you have to maintain it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just one person that needs it. So perhaps this means there is still a space that React Native needs to sort of think about and improve in terms of the API contract that it provides.
Mm-hmm. So imagine this. So I agree with you. So like if only Mark needs this, but Mark's libraries are used, I don't know, like hundreds and hundreds of times, like probably like 1/3 of all React Native projects is using some library from Mark, like Nitro modules or whatever. Then Meta team says we will not make this public. What Mark can do is just like patch React Native inside of his libraries.
I mean, he can always, I guess, import from a node module. Like, I'm sure there are ways with a proper metro config.
Can I ask a question about that?
Sure.
Like, what's the problem behind exporting those components like that? I mean, okay, sorry, maybe not
the problem is that inside React Native node modules, you will have a lot of exports. Those exports are used, let's say, internally by React Native package, and then like the proper exports happen only on like the top level. So if you are importing from this kind of subpaths, you are using something that is not encouraged, that is not public API, that there is no contract about this API to be stable.
I understand that part
Yeah.
completely. What I kind of don't understand is why like those types of exports will be removed or somehow blocked.
Those type of exports will be removed, yes.
And I kind of don't understand that. Like, does it create some sort of issue or?
Yeah, you won't be able to.
You need a public API for your package to be stable, right? So you don't want users to import something that is considered an implementation detail. Like when you work with Swift, for example, there are private APIs and there are public APIs. And if somebody's going to use private API, like with Swift, it's not easy, right? It involves a lot of hacks. And I think the motivation from the React team, which I kind of agree with, is that they want to have a public surface that is stable. Now, for those APIs, I don't know what the solution will be, because clearly there is a part of React Native API that is totally irrelevant for 99% of users, but is important for library authors and hackers and low-level edge cases. And if doesn't mean we will have to do not import or you will be fired type of object. I don't know. Good question. Would be perhaps good to interview Łukasz. Maybe this is an idea for a podcast to get Alex or somebody from the team to talk about the direction they have for the React Native these days going forward. Because I'd be genuinely interested how they plan to approach those challenges. But it is indeed an interesting challenge. Because, it's not something we can perhaps answer on the stream, but it is definitely an interesting problem to solve that builds on ages of technical debt, because those patterns were in the out there, right, being used for a while, and I remember relying on those a couple of times, like importing some types for event bubbling and stuff.
Types, like this is the most common problem, types
for the
being
types,
not exported.
The really next paragraph is about the types. So with the above redefinition of the exports, we are also shipping the new sets of TypeScript types for the React Native package, which we're calling the strict TypeScript API. Those are generated directly from our source code, restricted to React Native's index file. So only the public API that is available on like the root package will have the types provided by this opt-in strict TypeScript API. We're shipping this alongside our existing types, meaning you can choose to migrate when ready, meaning like you still can use the old types. But yeah, that's the theme of this. We are restricting the public API so that the contract for the API is clear for everyone, and as small as possible might not be a good statement, but like manageable for the React Native team.
Fair enough.
Okay, going forward, legacy architecture freezing and warnings. So they announced this. I think Nico and Ricardo, they had a talk at JS as well. They announced that legacy architecture is going to be frozen, which is, I'm not making an opinion about is it a good move or not, but it's a fun thing to look at when we were just discussing the alternatives to code push and how some alternatives to code push don't work with new architecture or old architecture or whatever. And like this one says that it supports both. So I guess it's a good step in terms of like new libraries that are just coming out. They don't have to like pay attention to old architecture anymore. This is deprecated officially. So like new libraries don't have to support it anymore. That's my take. Okay.
Yeah. It's interesting, you know. I'll be putting the boomer hat right now. It's mind blowing that this is already out and the old legacy architecture is deprecated. I still remember, having the meetings and discussions about beginning of the effort, like 6 or 7 years ago. So yeah, just a.
I'm kind of shocked still that like seeing that React and React Native has such a huge like amount of developers who are using those frameworks, and like introducing such a huge change like new architecture. I'm kind of surprised that it went like gradually, that it was added as an optional parameter as change, and now it's phased out the legacy architecture. Like I would say that more commonly there would be just like React 2.0 with new architecture and new features. So
Yeah, they really did a great job on rolling this out in as backwards compatible way as possible. I think this is something that the React team in general is amazing at. You could see the different approach with, I don't know, Angular had a lot of breaking changes, right? I think between 1.x and 2.x was like a massive change. I never upgraded beyond that point, so hard for me to say what was later. At that point, I was already a React developer. And I think ever since I started building with React, I don't remember a single time where I felt like everything that I knew was different. And most of the time, I feel like everything that I know is either slightly changing or just transforming to whatever is the current latest trend, like with classes or functional components. But it always felt like incremental adoption, incremental change, rather than, oh my God, React Native 0.8 is out. I now have to relearn everything. And I think that's the key.
Even looking at the fact that those functional components and classes were perfectly working together, so you could have like slowly
Still are.
Yeah. That's what I meant. That there was like a basic, because basically like functional components would be, I would call them a new paradigm in how you write React, and you could still
Not really. Like functions were there from the beginning. The functional components were just for the uncontrolled components, right? So like the jump from classes to functional components was about like use hooks, use whatever hook, so that the function can have state. But like React was about the functions from the very beginning, meaning like there is a function, like the UI is a function of your state and what? Like the function of your state. UI is a function of your state, meaning like that's the React paradigm.
But that's okay. I maybe used too loosely the word paradigm shift, because the paradigm stayed the same. But like it kind of, for me, when they entered in, it was started being such a fun to write the functions. Like I always hated all of those like in class implementations, all of those will unmount, all of those. It was so annoying. So yeah.
I actually liked it, to be honest. At some point, I had some trouble writing with hooks for the first time. I was a huge class fan.
Yeah,
But
we were just saying that last week, that we love classes.
But on a private note, my favorite language ever since has been ClojureScript. Łukasz, maybe you can pull up another tab and just show the syntax. And ClojureScript has this, and I highly say, hello, and I greet everybody from this beautiful community. ClojureScript, like 10 years ago, it was very hyped, and a lot of folks from React community used to spend a lot of time together with ClojureScript guys on meetups, and a lot of ClojureScript ideas were actually going to React directly or indirectly. Not ClojureScript as a language itself. ClojureScript as a language is a JavaScript, is a version of Clojure that runs in your browser. So Clojure goes to JavaScript executable, and then you can run it, right? So it's transpiled to JS. If you could go to this, could go to this project, I think if you type ClojureScript space OM. I think there was a front-end framework with that name. OM. I wonder if my memory is not going to. Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly right here. So it was a UI framework, kind
So
of.
this is that's the language. This is how you write it.
Yes, and what's interesting is that this was, you could think of this as bindings to React, and when the team was making the bindings to React in ClojureScript, they were creating or figuring out some ClojureScript native paradigms to bind to React Native, right? So think about it this way. And by the way, this example is totally wrong, but I just want to give you an idea. There are no classes here, so they would go and invent hooks, okay? This is obviously a bad example, but I want to say that a lot of concepts about rendering and React and those pure functions and stuff, there was a lot of great inspiration in this. It's probably history right now. I don't think this is being used heavily, but it was very nice. And back when React was about classes, this was all functions with pure arguments and stuff like that. So it was very beautiful in that context.
I just wanted to say that this example is completely wrong. I saw that. That's why I was like weirded out. Like, what's happening here? That's completely wrong. I mean, isn't it obvious? Come on, it's obvious.
Yeah, like I don't understand what's going on in this example, but like I'm sure it's right.
It's just this, guys. This language is too beautiful for you. Okay, you can go back to writing JS and anything as ugly as Java. This is beautiful. And I'm a fan of ClojureScript. I'm a fan of Clojure. I'm a fan of Objective-C. I'm broken, okay? This was beautiful.
I mean, I guess it's kind of the same like with coffee. Like once people go too much into coffee, they start importing like magical coffee beans from Antarctica, made under the stars of seven suns and.
I was thinking that you are referring to CoffeeScript, but you were referring to actual coffee.
Same. I thought about this.
Because with some coffee or whiskey, at some point somebody might be, I don't understand the taste. Like, because you just barely started enjoying that, and that's how I see that Mike has much more experience with programming, because
of course, no, it's just. It's just
I'm an alcohol whiskey. No.
Everything is JavaScript package.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go back to the release notes, because at this.
Yeah. Let's do that.
Let's do that. Pace, we will never finish this live stream, guys.
I know.
I mean, next time we're gonna do it for like 8 hours, I guess, but and we'll have to do it. Start swapping people and seats, but all right.
We can do that. We can actually do that. We'll do like so you remember how CNN is the first like 24-hour news network? We're gonna be the first 24-hour React and React Native news network.
But imagine this would be totally possible. Like once you have like a couple of hundred people from all around the world, all we have to do is pick one day a month where LA wakes up right now, they get their coffee, they go in for 3-4 hours, then, I don't know, Japan wakes up, and then we wake up. And it's like every time zone goes, and they can speak about their news.
And then you get like, rotating subtitles on the screen, like breaking news, React Native OTA was just released like 5 years ago. Here are the like the topics that are covered in this release, blah blah blah, and then we'll have someone every hour saying stuff. Okay,
exactly.
React 19.1.0 is stable and is included in this release. Let's check that out. Is it really? Yes, it is.
Are we going to follow Apple and have the same major version for React and React Native?
No, like it doesn't make sense, right? That's like two completely different frameworks.
I mean, theoretically, could be a major version every year, with minor every month, and patch every day. But
You can do that right now. You need to follow the nightlies. I guess React has nightlies,
yeah, it does.
canaries or nightlies.
Yeah. Okay, go to that React
Canaries.
19.1.1.10 release and let's check what's up.
Okay.
What is a canary?
It's a synonym, my friend, for nightly.
There is no React 19.1 blog post. Do you want me to go to just like the releases? Yeah.
But do you know why is it called canary? That's what I meant. Why is it called canary?
Yeah, because
Kevin.
canary
Enlighten
in the gold mine.
Yeah, because in the mines, when they used to have a canary in the cage, because when it, I guess, died, it means that that there is a danger because there is a high amount of toxins in the air. So canary is like basically for quick detection of danger and for quick detection of problems.
Yeah. That's what I know. I ask Perplexity, maybe we'll have
nice use of this ChatGPT wrapper, my friend. Nice.
I shouldn't do the deep research. That was just a question.
Deep research for that.
Yeah, I just cut 5 trees in order to provide you a slow answer to what Kevin already told us.
Yeah, and I googled that in like 5 seconds, but
But like,
I'm not AI.
I have something that I can post on my blog if I ever have a blog.
Yeah, you can make a presentation about it in the second AI tool. You can
I can
generate
do a
an AI
presentation about it.
presenter that will present it for you. Soon you'll be able to make a AI version of yourself that will living instead of you. Exciting times.
Yes. Let's do that real fast. What?
Presentation, but
I can't.
No, that's too long. That was too long of a text.
Okay, let's go back to the release. So 19.1, that's released from 2 months ago. Owner stack is a string. What? I don't know what it is.
You shouldn't publicly admit that, my friend.
Do you know what it is?
Of course, yeah.
It's the first. That's the first sentence tells you this.
Is a string representing the components that are directly responsible for rendering a particular component. Meaning the name of the component or what?
Exactly. Why don't you open up the debugging console and log it? It's together with a stack trace. So throw an error from a render function, and let's see.
How do I open the? Yes.
You have this capture owner stack API as well.
So what do I do?
This will be on a stack trace, but you can also click this API. Click the link.
But this is only in React, right?
Yes, but you have a reference below. If you scroll below, you have to do it from inside the component. Okay, you scroll below here, and you have an example from the component how to call this.
Okay.
Scroll down. Yeah. So here we just need to call capture owner stack from, say, just call it from a render method from your React Native component, and we'll see it here in the console.
Meaning here, you mean?
Just go to a render method of like whatever you have here. Perhaps not the root. Maybe not the root. Just like
I don't have anything else.
Go to the card component in the flat list.
So
card component in the flat list.
is it basically to cut off the additional logs from the console log that go way too deep? And
I don't understand, Kevin, what you mean.
I'm trying to understand like the use of the owner stack.
There is, I mean,
I know that
quite
whenever
useful.
I tried. No, that's, I don't doubt that, but I know that I just wanted to say that usually when I console log errors or do stuff like that, usually the stack
Also log
trace
it,
goes
Łukasz.
extremely deep, and it's hard sometimes to find where the actual error was. So does this capture owner stack allows you to just cut off the stack going too deep into implementation and just like stop at the element you require?
Okay, so I guess I have 10 tabs, 10 cards, and I got 10 console logs of nothing. So what does it mean? Return string or null? If no owner stack troubleshooting, okay. Is only exported in development builds. Okay, that's fine.
Should perhaps be defined according to the documentation, and that also would make sense. It should be available in the render method. That's also how they use it. So if it's empty, maybe it has something to do with the flat list. Try putting it somewhere else outside of the flat list. Be it
put
the
in the main app. Okay, that's no, that's not the owner stack. I guess it is.
could be. It's a stack at the end of the day, but appears that perhaps it might be a bug that we just found in React in this case. That if you put it inside a flat list, it doesn't work. Might have to do with the windowing a bit, or how it renders those elements. So it's interesting. It definitely should work according to how it is designed. And
okay, but like, why do we need it? Like, why is it part of this release? Exactly.
I mean, it's part of the React release, and they upgraded.
So this is
the
new,
latest
right?
React.
So this owner stack is a new API, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was correct. That it basically allows you to like cut off all of the stack traces going way too deep with like those compiled JavaScript files, etc. So usually often it goes like starts logging like A, and it comes from age, and it comes from blah blah blah. So now
And
I can
also,
just like
it won't really be useful if you have an error in a event handler, for example, and you console log the stack trace from there. The stack trace will be totally different, right? Because it's a function, and it's been called perhaps by React itself, so it won't really point too precisely to the location of the component. And with the owner stack, you can get a precise location of it. But as you can see, it doesn't seem to be working with the flat list itself. Now I wonder if it would work with the navigation, but
I mean, it's just some AI garbage that Łukasz generated. So maybe that's the problem.
Let's move on. That's the main thing in this release, I guess. In React, enhanced support for suspense boundaries. Blah. So this seems like minor things. Those are web. Oh, I've read in some newsletters, I guess, that there is something happening in React Server Components space.
The
Something new.
pre-rendering is really interesting. That would be perhaps a topic for Shimon, as he's looking into RSC.
For the React Router RSC preview released. Okay, never mind. I have not read up on this, so I don't know anything about that right now. Let's go back to React Native.
Oh, finally, something that you didn't read about.
Well, I always admit that this is unscripted and unprepared. I just like
At
run
least
through
Kevin,
some.
he shows up with some notes, right?
I show up with all of my knowledge and all of my experience.
All of it.
All of
Thank
it.
you.
For sure.
Thanks so
sure,
much
Kevin.
for that.
For sure. Okay, can we try? Do you think we can go through the changelog?
However, we are aware that owner stacks are not working as expected in React Native if you use the bubble plugin
Oh.
transform function name.
Yeah, I noticed the excitement, Łukasz, you had reading this, as if you were to realize that was the reason it didn't work with flat list. But I guess the answer is no.
Well, it didn't work at all, right? Because like even here, we are missing the
Which is the reason why. Okay, it doesn't work
Yeah.
because that's enabled by default. Okay.
yeah. Okay, experimental. React Native iOS dependencies are pre-built now, and this is something that people are excited about on Twitter because it allows faster builds of iOS by like 15% or whatever, something like that.
Yeah, it's been quite a popular and widely spoken.
Oh,
You
we lost
broke.
you.
Yeah, we lost
Popular
you for a while.
and widely spoken.
Yeah, feature last week. Not too hard
No,
to
feature
guess.
last week.
Yeah. So then other changes, Android, smaller APK size thanks to IPO. What's the IPO? Interprocedural
authorization.
optimization. Okay. Okay, I guess that's like computer science something. So this results in saving about 1 meg for all of the Android apps. It's great. New app screen redesign. So I saw that.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah, like I immediately got rid of it. So let me maybe go here.
I
and
wish
just-
I kind of miss the very first one, nostalgia right here, but
This is how it
it
looks.
definitely feels very modern.
You know what I don't like about this, and this is not coming up in this release. This is just redesign. I guess like few releases ago, the code for this screen got moved from the template to actual React Native internals. So like this is coming from new
That's
app
actually
screen.
pretty good because I hated that. It polluted my code.
Well, but it's such a good starting point for people. So like right now, if I just want to play around with this screen, I have to create everything from scratch for myself.
Can't you just enter the new app screen and just copy paste it?
Well, this is in probably this is in what's the type system of Facebook? Flow. I guess this will be written in Flow. Well, those are actually the types of TypeScript, because if you navigate to it, you get to the types, not to the actual implementation.
But
like
that helpfully for you, you can cursor it. Try to recreate the new app screen in the code.
Well, I can just go here, right? So that's the new app screen. Okay, that's actually, yeah, that's Flow, right? So this is a JS extension, but it has types, so I can't use it directly in my own code because that's Flow. That's how Flow works. So I loved how I had all of that available for me to just play around, to just like change some things to see what happens. Okay, that's around.
But
I
this is a
mean,
valid,
I
this
guess
is a valid
as
point.
pros and cons, right?
Yeah.
But I would say that your point totally makes sense in days before like everyone had access to AI for free. Now you can just like ask every free model to like generate me boilerplate React component and just replace
True.
that, and you'll have
Yes.
exactly the same. So yeah, like the one simple conclusion for that is that Łukasz, you old.
So they say in this version we've moved the new app screen to its own package, but I guess like it was moved from like the boilerplate to React Native package anyway a few versions ago. Right now it just has its own like namespace or whatever. I can check that out. Okay, maybe later. Notice this is interesting. This is so interesting. So React Native OTA is the last version of React Native to offer first-party JSC support, meaning JavaScript core support. The support for JSC will be offered via the community maintained package.
Yeah.
I remember the days
Check who's the maintainer of that package.
of this package.
Yes, check it on GitHub.
Is it you?
No. No.
Okay, it's Oscar. It's Kudo.
Yes. See?
It's community. It's Sebastian.
Yes.
It's Nico. And Sad. And Kacper from Callstack as well. Okay.
So it's
Yeah.
Callstack people there. That was the point.
Yeah. Like I suspected it when you said it.
Oh, I see. Okay.
It's interesting. I think we've been talking about this for a while now, right? That React Native should not be bind into like the default JavaScript engine. And it finally is happening.
That's interesting. That's interesting move because there is few interesting other cases. I mean, obviously for React Native doesn't make sense to maintain compatibility with anything other than Hermes, since that's what we use. But also it makes sense to maintain compatibility for I don't know what's the usage for any use case for JSC, but I think from the pure open source community perspective, it is important to have that alternative there, just so that there is somebody making sure we have compatible API. Because one day we may want to add something else, such as Quick.js or whatnot. So good to have something that works reliably, I guess.
Yeah, and also like when you said like Quick.js, this will be a canary in the gold mine for like other engines, right? For how we as community interact with few different engines at the same time, and not only like one bundled on the device and then like the default Hermes one.
Correct.
But like the JSC is shipped with iOS, so I guess if you want to only develop for iOSs, you don't have to like ship the engine with you. You can just use what's standard on iOS.
Theoretically, yes.
Yeah. So breaking changes, added export field on main package. Okay. And other breaking changes.
Wait, but why is that a breaking change if it's added?
I don't know. It shouldn't be.
Is it because of a preference, perhaps?
If what?
Might be either it's a different behavior because the package managers will now default to exports field rather than main. I guess that's why. If you look under Metro, platform specific extensions will not be automatically expanded across exports matches. Can you click the PR 50326? I don't think if it's this one or
Yeah.
And what's the diff? I wonder what it looks like.
Is there a file that you want me to open?
No, I just want to see what's this file about. Okay, it makes some, it just creates. So go to image.js in the sidebar, for example, you have, it's a added file. Okay. Okay, this is for backwards compatibility for soup paths. This file supports backwards compatibility of soup path deep imports from React Native platform-specific extensions. It can be deleted once we remove the mapping from package exports. I see. Okay. Well, I think this is something that is really, really specific to the way ES modules and extensions work, and I probably wouldn't dig too deeper into this.
So they say this may subtly affect how modules within the React Native package are resolved.
Oh yeah,
So that's
of
the
course.
breaking change.
Okay, cool. So let's go to real breaking changes then.
Real breaking changes, meaning other.
Yes,
Series of
the
break
actuals that I need to change in my code.
S-Link plugin may produce new error signals. Bumped
Okay.
Kotlin version. Class deleted. Some classes are internal. And some classes are migrated from Java to Kotlin.
Yeah, I helped with
Nice.
that.
You
Nice.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Congrats.
Are you in the like changelog authors?
I have no idea. I have no idea. Maybe.
What's
Now
your
it will. Just search for Q1. Oh, good luck with that. Scrolling at this
Yeah,
speed.
just Q1.
Q1? Yes, it's Kewin.
Hey.
Congrats, man.
Wow.
Nice to have a React Native celebrity on the live stream.
Well, I'm trying to stay in the shadows for now.
And now you can say that you came prepared with the contribution to React Native in the release
Look,
that we are actually discussing on this live stream.
He's been sitting on this announcement for the whole 2.5 hours.
Should we look at his commit?
I will be
like
it will be so funny if like in next week there will be huge news that nobody can edit anything because the edit input is not working.
Admit that you just used AI to feed it this Java file and to produce this Kotlin file.
What? Why?
No comment.
That is weird.
No, honestly, like congrats, man. I have never contributed to React Native internals ever, so that's great that you did.
Oh, it's actually very thanks to one of the JSC contributors you found.
Kacper?
Yeah, because
Kacper or Oscar?
Kacper.
Okay.
Yeah, because we have quite a nice chat that we have for like 3 years since I started working in Callstack, and like we are constantly trying to push each other to do like something fun, creative, and new. So every time Kacper finds some interesting like issues to contribute, because I always wanted to start contributing to React, but I never found like a nice beginner level issue to work on. So yeah, he pointed out that there is this nice initiative to Kotlinify React, and I jumped on board. It was quite fun. Like I learned quite a lot about React from just this one contribution.
Cool.
Hey, I just realized there is, at least on my feed, there is 4 other live streams happening as we speak. There's like one guy hosting with 225 people, and there is, I believe this is Twitter Spaces. Google AI is hosting with 500 people. Another is listening. There is another. Yeah, it's prime time, my friends. It's prime time. Okay. And then on iOS, we have just one deletion.
RTC floor pixel value. What's not used? Okay. I guess this is one of those deep imports Or
No, this
okay,
is from the
no,
RCP utils.
that's
So
the
it's an
that's
actual,
the Objective C.
an actual breaking change. As long as you are using that, it's a very, very, very low level API. Perhaps you're not using it anyway.
Okay, so that's it for the React. Thank you to all of the 127, what is it? 127 contributors and almost 1,200 commits.
Well, you are welcome, Łukasz. What can I say?
Such a humble guy. How about
Right.
how about we end this stream with looking at bytes
It's a very
and
good
maybe
idea,
doing the
but
riddle.
we have to do something next time so we can at least squeeze it. I mean, I'm happy with wrapping it up at some point because it's 9:30 p.m. on my end and I still have a bunch of work to do. But
Let's end with this.
What is this?
In what order will
Make
the
it
logs
bigger, make
below
it bigger.
Oh
make it,
my
make
show
it
up
bigger.
God.
in the console?
I
It's
know
easy.
that
This
one.
is easy.
That's
one is
such
easy.
a JavaScript interview question, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so
It's
this one will be
it's
first.
easy. Yeah.
This one will be second.
Yes.
This one will be third. No? Yes, this one will be third. And this one will be fourth.
I honestly
So
don't
actually,
know at this point.
depends on your environment, and like I don't know the exact quirks there, but there is a talk from one of Pasiński brothers from Warsaw JS talking exactly about that. But I guess it's gonna be first, fourth, third, second. Let's say.
Because there's I think set timeout
first,
is
fourth, third, second.
because
I
the
passed.
set timeout is actually delegating the function on the later like event.
I guess this is
loop.
micro task and this
Yeah,
is macro task.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So in JavaScript, what will happen is promises will run on the microtask queue, and when resolved,
Which is flashed
they're
earlier
they're placed on the microtask queue, right?
Yeah.
And microtasks are executed after the script, before I/O, and timer events. And timer events like set timeout are on the microtask queue, and that is after the microtask queue. So basically, I think if somebody wants to understand it, Łukasz, you can pull up this beautiful talk, not from Robert. I mean, Robert one is also good, but I had another one in mind. We can. Oh, actually, he did have a talk on scheduling. That's interesting.
This is deep dive into JS task scheduling. Yeah.
I had no idea. Nice.
So
what does he
and
speak here about?
that's exactly the
Really?
the task
did
that we are
speak about-
solving.
Yeah.
Ah, what a coincidence, I would say.
This is how I know this. Like I actually like knew that something like that is going on, but like microtask and macro tasks, like this is something that you either read about and know about, or you go to conferences and meetups and listen to smart people that will give you this knowledge for free, and you can drink some beer doing that. So did you see that? So like in ES, in ECMAScript spec, you might have like both ways in like depending on some conditions, and then on HTML5 spec, you will always get 3-to-1. So first script console log, then promise resolve microtask, then set timeout macro task. But
Makes
in
sense.
some condition on ECMAScript, it doesn't work that way.
Is it because the set timeout actually uses like implementation of what it's running on?
Yeah, the set timeout is implemented by the browser. It's not the part of the specification for the language.
So basically, set timeout. There is an option where set timeout will be using microtask queue.
Maybe not the microtask queue, but there is an option that the like the specification for the runner of your JavaScript will maybe not flash the micro task before running macro tasks. I don't know. Just
Łukasz,
watch
I
this.
think for this question, and let's drop this one in the notes. Another one, if you can pull it up specifically for Kevin as his homework.
Which one?
What the heck is event loop? Yeah, type it in the YouTube.
This one? The first?
Yeah, yes.
JSConf
It's-
EU.
This will tell you all you need to know. This is from the yeah. This will answer your questions. All right.
Wait,
So-
what questions? I never asked a question about the event loop.
You don't even
You
know.
have
You
home-
don't even realize.
We started this stream as a way for us to just have a nice conversation in the evening, and we ending this with the homework for Kevin.
Again, by the way, again.
I'm totally happy. I think for the next time, we do need to make sure that we at least go through the newsletter, because I do need to clean up my inbox. I mean, I think we're making
Sure.
progress.
So
But,
the next live stream,
see. Yeah.
the next live stream is going to be next week on Friday, and I'm gonna be here with Shimon to talk about Versalship. So Versalship is happening on Wednesday, and we will
I'll
go
be there
live
as well.
2 days. You're gonna be there, and 2 days later, me and Shimon will just go over what's new was presented at Versalship, and maybe we'll just do some Next.js coding, blah blah blah.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I
I'll
won't
try to
be-
join. I'll try to join.
Okay.
But don't
Cool.
worry, Kevin. We will do another one the week after with the newsletter updates.
Yeah, I know,
Yes.
I know.
And
I've
I
been
want
some
to make
updates.
sure. Yeah.
I enjoy those streams so much. Like on my vacation, I bought already a book. I bought Real-Time Rendering, 4th edition. It's a huge,
Hey,
huge book.
Łukasz, a note for, I'm going to say this on the record so we remember for the next time. We need to update the layouts in StreamYard because they are always too large and I keep editing them every time. And for some reason, they are. What is even going on here?
I'm clicking around. Sorry.
No, wait a second.
And I'm constantly
I will show you.
over.
Oh, this
Plenty
one.
of times.
This one is good because as you can see, we're not overlapping things. It is called custom layout 5. Basically, what we have to do is we have to clean up those layouts and remove some of the ones that overlap. Because you know when the problem happens? When there's 3 people. These were made for 2. And we usually 3. So I did some adjustments. Let's make sure we do it next time. Do you remember? Question for the finishing, for the wrap up. Do you know how to finish the live stream with the music? That
Yes.
always. Okay, so you have to do it.
I know how to
because
do
that-
it. I did it
that
already
makes
last
it next
week.
level. Perfect.
I did it already last week. I'm not sure. So I'm not sure like which music should we play, but maybe this one.
Well,
We
again,
have to
we
change
didn't
the-
hear.
We have to change the slide to thank you, and then
Oh,
we
yeah.
put this ambient music and let it play.
So that's the thank you slide. I'm gonna remove. Mike, is this what you had in mind? This music?
Yes, but
Okay.
you have to get rid from here because
But
we
that was-
cannot be here.
Okay.
That was
Thanks everyone. See you in the next one. Bye.
Thank you.